Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 23 of your favorite podcast. I don't know, with your host, Sana,
Jackie. And we have a guest.
We have a guest.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod, Christine. Say hello.
Hello.
Yay. Hooray.
Hooray. So, Christine and I have been long-term friends. We've met when we were 13.
Wow, 13?
You didn't know this?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we met when we were 13, junior high.
Oh my gosh.
13-year-old Christine and a 13-year-old son are very different people.
Oh, I bet.
Christine, just give a quick story, because that was when the time where, like, baby fat was in.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, no.
And that type of, like, clothing.
Yeah.
So Christine would come in with her, like, crunchy, gelled up curly hair.
Yes, I did the same
with
thing.
the straight bangs.
The straight bangs.
The straight bangs, the crunchy curly hair, the big hoop earrings, her baby girl belt.
Love it.
And she'd be in the back of the class putting on makeup.
That's a whole fit.
I was 13, please.
I had unshaved legs. I had no makeup on, a mustache,
a unibrow.
I had glasses, like little Harry Potter glasses. And, like, I don't even know how we ended up being friends, because she looked way cooler than me. She was in the back, like, putting on her mascara, and I'm like,
wow.
In her baby girl belt.
And you could, like, barely wear, like, the Burt's Bees.
Literally. And then I had no shame that I'd be wearing my capri pants with unshaved legs.
The visual. No shame. No shame.
Because my mom was like, you can't remove hair. One topic. What is up with brown moms and, like, brown moms and not wanting their kids to shave or remove hair at a young age?
I had to do it behind my mom's back.
Why did we all have to do that? Why did we all have to do that?
You know why? I think because it happens in Hispanic families too. So, like, all shades of brown. I think it's because they think that if you are shaving, like, someone's getting close enough to, like, where you want to be, like, hairless. Like, someone's close enough to touch and you want it to be smooth. So, like, why? Like, what are you doing? Like, for me, it's like, for Hispanics, it's like, what cochinadas are you doing? Like, like, what, like, dirty little things,
No, I'm with Christine. I used to have to hide it.
Yeah.
I'd be like sneaking my mom's razor. Anita's going to know now. Like, shave the leg.
See, I was very lucky. My mom was, if you think I'm a coconut, my mom's even more so. And so she had to, like, tell my dad, like, they need to shave. This is embarrassing. Yeah. Like, they are going to get made fun of at school.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
I remember one, like, time where, like I was in photo class. I distinctly remember this. I'm scarred. I was in photo class and I was wearing, like, these capri pants. I could remember these, like, this boy and girl, like, pointing at my legs and laughing.
Oh, there it is. Oh, poor Lana.
This is why I grew up to hate hair. Men with hair, women with hair. Hate it.
I hate it all.
Traumatized.
But 13 years old.
Yeah.
So gosh.
It's a long friendship.
Long friendship.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Been together in many different seasons.
Yeah, a lot of different seasons.
Graduated high school, graduated college.
Went to our...
Been to weddings together. It's been a lot.
Just everything.
Yeah.
Everything. That's so cool. I feel like I learn more about you every time we do an
episode
with people.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah, this is embarrassing. Clearly we don't talk about this stuff.
Clearly.
But anyway, so welcome, friend of the pod, Christine.
Thank you for having me.
So excited to have you. So before we get into today's topic, we're going to go into weekend recap and talk about a little pop culture moments from this weekend, because the Grammys were on. I think only like 12 million people watched it, which was really, really low, apparently. Yes. But okay, weekend recap. What did we get up to this weekend?
So Friday, I went out with Aisha and another friend, and we went to Lavo, which is a really nice Italian restaurant in West Hollywood. So if you have not been, really recommend. It's bougie, really good food, ambiance.
Yeah, the food looked really good.
Yeah, it was really good. Then we went to Barlease after for a few drinks. That was a great time. And then Saturday, friend of the pod, Bianca. It was her husband's birthday, so we had a little Joey.
Shout out to Joey.
Happy birthday, Joey. So we had a little gathering for him at their place. And then Sunday, we watched the Grammys.
Yeah, you and I watched.
And I worked. I also worked all weekend.
Yes, that's
true.
I
do work. I don't talk about it, but I work every weekend.
It's not fun to talk about.
It's not fun to talk about.
Christine, what did you do this weekend? Anything fun?
Friday, we just hung out with Pierre's, my boyfriend's niece and nephew. Had a little birthday celebration and cupcakes and playing Saturday I worked. Sunday, took my sister out for brunch for her.
Oh,
My baby
Stephanie's
sister.
26.
Wow. Isn't that crazy? Like when your younger siblings, like they start like entering in like adulthood.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you're truly like an adult until after 25.
Exactly.
You can't even tie your shoes until then. So, yeah, it's really kind of weird because my younger sister, she just turned 30 last August. So it's just like weird to be like,
Baby.
yeah, the baby, like now being in her 30s. Yeah. It's kind of odd, but that sounds like a fun
That is fun.
weekend. Like
Happy birthday,
cute.
Stephanie.
Yeah. Yeah, didn't do much. Friday, I think I was just so tired from the week. It was like a really busy. I had to work last week. that was tragic. Like full days.
One day.
Yeah.
When Spotify picks us up.
I know. One
Shout out to
day.
Spotify.
Shout out before we get sponsored. And no, so I was just really tired from the week. So yeah, Friday, Saturday, I don't even remember either. Actually, I was really productive this weekend. So I'm really trying to be a little bit more organized and tasks and all that good stuff. So I'm like, usually what I would do is I like put all of my tasks into one day.
Yeah.
So I was off on Friday. That's right. So I was able to kind of break up things, which was really nice. So my day wasn't overcome by just like, I get overwhelmed easily. So, and then Sunday hung out at Sana's house with Anita Double T and Marcus. That is an inside joke we'll have to explain at some point. And we watched the Grammys. We did the whole red carpet thing. Watched that. So did you watch the Grammys, Christine?
Just little snips of it at work.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of people didn't watch it.
You know, it's just award shows just aren't what they used to be.
Even the red carpet was a bit disappointing. Let's get into pop culture.
Let's get into pop culture.
The red
Kinda
carpet,
good segue.
I was very disappointed. I'm like dying for someone to invite me to the Grammys. I have gone once, accidentally.
Yeah.
And with Aisha.
Of
And
course,
I
with
wasn't,
Aisha.
Of course, Aisha, and I wasn't prepared with the right outfit.
Oh, Lord.
But I did go and it was great.
Yeah.
But I want to go and I'm prepared.
Yes.
And I want to, like, I just feel like there's so many outfits and I'm like, either too over the top, like ugly, or too understated.
Yeah.
Like, not that many people are doing it right.
I have to say, we saw a lot of like Wet Seal, Forever 21,
Charlotte Russe. We're like,
Shein, reimagined.
Shein.
Like, I don't know who was making these, but their inspiration was clearly the 17 magazine from 1998 because it looked so cheap. A lot of rhinestones everywhere, which just like I don't care how nice they look. I think they always look trashy. I think they always look cheap. There's always some level of cheapness to it. So our top looks, I think we agreed. Lizzo looks great.
The orange was gorgeous on her. And she changed. I didn't like her second.
I didn't like her 80s prom weird
dress.
thing.
No, but the orange,
Wasn't
she
a fan.
looked beautiful in
She
the orange.
looked gorgeous in the
It was very
orange,
figure flattering. The color, everything.
Yeah. And then we also loved Cardi B.
Cardi B took it for me because, okay, first of all, what's really exciting for my Indian peeps is Cardi B was wearing my favorite Indian designer, Gaurav Gupta. I'm obsessed with him and
Gorgeous designs.
He's amazing. And she was wearing a dress by him. And I feel like he's making his way down to Hollywood.
Yeah. The fact that Cardi B and Best Dressed are in the same sentence
is wild to me.
It's so wild.
It's wild.
But no, beautiful, like that cobalt blue color.
Was stunning.
I really liked.
You like Doja Cat.
I like
too.
Doja Cat. I thought that one looked really
like the
cool.
latex.
Yeah, I thought it was done well because like black latex can really look trash baggy. But it didn't. And I think she did it in a really fun way.
Yeah, it was
that's the fun part of the Grammys. Like you're supposed to be very avant-garde with it.
Yeah.
I think. But I don't know. People they just go the wrong direction.
I hated Beyonce's first dress. Second dress,
that
it was looking
terrible.
better.
The second dress looked really
good
cool,
on her.
but the first one I was
was
like, what is this?
It was so bad. I was like so excited to see what she was wearing, and I was like,
because she was late too.
She was late
and
too.
we were
I was
like, what are we waiting for?
Yeah,
nothing. That's what we were
even
waiting for.
J-Lo usually comes in good, and I didn't. Her
Yeah,
dress
that
was
one was
okay.
whatever.
It
Again,
was okay.
Rhinestones. It was
Yeah.
that, and I know that they're probably
just
not
not-
rhinestones, but like it was that look.
She
It was
usually wears
just-
something really sexy. She was very covered this time,
which is fine.
which is fine. I'm not saying it's it, but it was just. I didn't like it.
I just didn't like the overall look.
Yeah, I didn't like the overall look.
Anyway, but great performances by
Benito.
Bad Bunny. We love.
Love. He
Great
really
opening number.
like, I'm so happy they picked him because he really brought the energy
Yes.
to start the show.
He did.
Everybody was standing, dancing.
Yeah, it was great.
It was really good.
I actually really loved that he had very size inclusive dancers.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like the beautiful, like, thin Spanish, like he had, it truly looked like women who practice the, like, folklorico, like, dancing, like, so I thought that was really
And
cool.
he sounds great live.
Oh, he sounded great. It was incredible. So upbeat. Was such a great way to open it up.
We both talked about this. I really didn't think Sam Smith sounded great live. And I don't know if he was having an off day.
Ooh, yeah, I don't know what happened, but like.
But I did not like that performance.
I didn't like that performance either. I know it's causing a lot of stir, like, in kind of the conservative community. I mean, it was funky. It was weird.
I didn't care about it. I just, like, the vocals weren't there for me.
Odd. But the vocals were just really bad. They were really, really bad for me. And then another moment was Harry Styles winning. So
I was happy for him. I like him. I'm not a
too.
huge like I don't know what his people are called.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called.
Me either.
I don't.
I think
don't know.
I think he's good looking. I think he's a sweetheart. I don't sit there and like listen to his music. I mean, I had Coachella tickets and I didn't go to his set. Like, but from a distance on the radio, I love him.
Yeah,
I love him. But he to me comes across more like teeny bopper.
Mm-hmm.
Which
yeah,
I think he's great.
Yeah,
no complaints.
Yeah, which is totally fine.
I liked some of the songs from this album. So
yeah,
I think he deserved it.
Yeah, obviously the very popular songs. I haven't listened to his whole album, so I don't know. Also, I'm not like a super musically inclined person, so I can't really tell like the recordings or I don't know the production that goes into it type of thing. So but I think that he had some really fun. I think he was truly the like kind of it guy of last year.
I agree.
Along with Bad Bunny, but he was, because he also had like his movies coming out and then all the drama with the Darling whatever movie, I forget, but the comment that he made at the end kind of was making some big waves within I don't want to say like liberal community, but like anyway, but out there, because he said that this doesn't really happen to people like him. And so I think people are interpreting it that doesn't happen to white. Success doesn't happen to a white guy.
That's not what he meant. I feel like nobody's dumb enough to be a white person and just say that.
Well, especially him.
There's more context. And people are so quick. It's the internet for you.
Yeah.
We get it all the time. People are so quick to be like, did you see what Harry Styles said? It's like, no, I don't think he meant it that way.
Yeah. I don't think either. I think that he's a very inclusive person. I think that he actually is very much an ally to
look at
all
the way he
sorts.
dresses.
Yeah,
look
all
at
sorts of
everything.
people. I don't think that he would ever do something or say something in regards to his race. So someone had wrote on, I think it was on TikTok or Instagram, I forget, but someone said, well, he actually was raised in a very, very quiet town in England. He was raised by a single mom. He worked in a bakery part-time to, earn money, and then he auditioned for X Factor, a reality TV show, and just as a solo person. So I think that's what he was referring to, is that
humble beginnings.
Humble beginnings. And I think there's a lot of artists that have humble beginnings. So again, I think it's like, hey, can we just celebrate somebody winning and not make it about race?
I also loved Lizzo's speech.
I love
when
Lizzo's
she mentioned
speech.
Beyonce. I thought that was so cute,
very sweet,
and I think we could all relate, because all of us were probably wanting to ditch class to go to a Beyonce concert or something. She was the idol for everybody growing up. Destiny's Child, Beyonce.
Oh, for sure. Everyone. But I loved how, like, she's always had that in her. She, like, ever since, like, she was very young, this is what she wanted to do. Yeah. And I loved what she's done with the, like, size inclusivity and giving big girls a chance, especially big girl dancers, her whole series.
Talked about in the speech.
Which, she talked about, and just giving people a shot and a chance. And so anyway, so I don't know, I just feel like can we just like not look at it through a lens of gender or anything, like,
just be happy. Last thing I'm gonna say about it, the hip hop dedication performance was amazing.
That was so cool.
Hip hop over the 50 years, like they brought out some old school people.
If you did not watch the Grammys,
watch that.
I highly recommend Instagram, YouTube. There is the hip hop tribute, because it was 50 years of hip hop, 1973 to 2023, and they brought out like Run DMC and just like Queen Latifah,
Flava Flav,
Flava,
Missy Elliott.
Yeah, it was
I
really
missed it.
Yeah, no, it was so
Busta
cool.
Rhymes?
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes on the mic. I was like, how do you know how he speaks that fast?
I don't even know how he does that. But it was, in Dr. Dre, like, it
there
was
was a
really,
lot
really
of
cool.
people,
It was
yeah.
just, it was immediate, like, junior high dance for me.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
those
that
are the
was
memories.
cool. That was cool to
so
watch. So yeah, I would definitely tune into that. But
Yes.
overall, it was all right. It wasn't bad.
It was whatever.
I'm not mad I watched it. you
Yeah.
know?
But our favorite season, awards.
Awards.
So.
I'm ready for the Academy.
Oh, I'm ready.
I really
That's
don't watch
my
any
jam.
movies, but again, red carpet.
I have to go see stuff, but that's my jam.
I probably watched nothing, so
I love the Academy Awards. That's
I
my
like
thing.
the fits.
So yeah. But yeah, that kind of wraps up our pop culture.
Oh, Viola Davis.
Oh, that's
EGOT.
right. Yes, Viola
love her.
Davis. Yeah, she's the EGOT winner,
Congrats to
and
her.
then Beyonce becoming the all-time Grammy.
So there were some big highlights.
Winning artists, like, which is insane, and I thought the really cool Smokey Robinson Stevie Wonder performance was really, really cool. Like, very much a dedication to Motown, which obviously, like, none of these performers would really be where they are without that influence of Motown, to be honest. So it was cool. Like, there were some really cool.
Now recapping.
It was
good. It was a good one.
Decent.
It was good.
You missed out, Christine.
Yeah, you better go stream it.
Yeah.
It was good.
But anyway, so getting into our topic for today, February, love, the month of love.
Yes.
But we're not going to talk about really romantic love, because who needs that bullshit in their lives? Not bitter at all. No, we're going to talk about love in kind of all forms, and self-love, healing, and love after hurt, which is kind of what our topic is today. Which is why Christine is with us. So we're so happy to have her, because she's really going to kind of share her experience on love and healing and growth, and after hurt. And hurt was she was married, and then divorce, and kind of just her whole journey. So
Yes, and getting married. You got married at what, 25 or 26?
I barely turned 25.
25.
Oh,
So
wow.
getting married in your mid-20s, which
Yes.
is fairly young for today's standards.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. So background. So kind of like, how did you meet your ex-husband? Like,
So
all that
I was barely 21. I dragged this one along to meet him. It was through mutual friends.
Was
and
I there the first time? No, I wasn't.
No, not the first time.
No, I wasn't, yeah.
I did drag you along.
Or on the ride, on the journey, of course.
Yeah, on the journey.
Yeah.
So I was barely 21 in college, coming from a very strict Middle Eastern household. So dating wasn't a thing. It was just like, get engaged, married.
Yeah.
That's it.
Don't bring
You know,
anybody
it's a-
home unless there's a ring.
Unless there's a ring, pretty
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So we started getting to know each other. I think I was just young when I met him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, you guys had a little bit of an age gap. He was...
yes,
How old was he?
he was 5 or 6 years older than me.
Okay, so he was
Okay.
26, 27
When I
they
met
When you
him.
met,
And I was
okay.
barely just turned 21.
Oh, wow. So still very young.
Very young.
Got it. And then kind of talk about like I guess like the marriage itself, like
So
the engagement.
So I finished college in 2015, and that was one of my things that I needed to finish school, get my career started. And he proposed right away after I had gone engaged. And typical Middle Eastern households, like, you got to get married right away. You can't just have like a long engagement.
Oh, really?
So I think within a year we were married,
Wow.
living in a little apartment in Pasadena, and then
Yeah.
just starting my career,
Yeah.
studying for that, and factors came into. And I think one of the biggest things that comes to me is I was so young and I never really had a boyfriend or had that dating relationship, that I kind of ignored a lot of the red flags.
Yeah.
Now that I am 31, I'm like, okay, these are the flags that I need to be looking for. How is that going to help me in my next relationship?
Yeah. That was kind of what I was going to ask. Like, what were the signs? Like
in
before,
hindsight.
during- yeah. I mean, hindsight's 2020, so.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, when I'm looking back at it now, and a lot of it is, we didn't discuss the basics of finances before we got into a relationship and moved in together. It was kind of like, oh, like, we'll deal with it. And that's, we came from that household where my parents struggled. My mom was in nursing school when she got married and had a baby. My dad, was working, not a lot.
That makes sense. So it was like, it was our parents.
There was struggle.
It was our parents coming to America and trying to make provide for their household and all that. That's what.
Yeah, and they struggled in the beginning.
That's what all of our parents
did. So I thought that was
here.
Normal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're at this age where it's like, you needed to be discussing finances. You need to be discussing boundaries and how we're going to build this relationship and building together. Yeah. And from the very beginning, I didn't really notice this, or, he would put his friends first before me. Mm. And now I have something to compare it to, because now I'm in this healthy relationship. And every time I'm like, to my therapist, I was like, is this normal? Is this, what do I do? Like, she's like, this is normal conversation. This is normal arguments to have, because you're setting up those boundaries. You're discussing about finances. And he's putting you first. Yeah. Versus my last relationship where I got married, young age, had no experience, no dating life, nothing to like set the boundaries of like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like. Versus like, my ex love bombed me, provided, bought gifts, this, and this, and that.
He love bombed you. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning. He even love bombed me a bit. All of us friends.
Interesting. Okay.
He was a guy that like when the first time he knew how to. This is fun. What's interesting about him is when he first met all of us, we were all at Saddle Ranch.
Yes.
We went to Saddle Ranch.
Oh, Saddle Ranch. This is a great time.
This was Saddle Ranch in LA. And the people that come around like selling roses. He bought a rose for every girl at the table. So, all the friends like, oh, Christine, like, what a sweetheart.
Oh, you got a good man.
You got a good man.
That charm.
He made sure to like engage with all of us. But what's interesting though is like that was the pursuit level. That was the time of the pursuit.
Yeah.
Right.
But then there was no games. There was just straight, like, he was pursuing
No, he pursued her hardcore. He really did pursue her hardcore.
Yeah.
But then when he got her and when they got engaged and married, like, he never wanted to hang out with us. She would go to everywhere alone. He would rarely come.
Oh.
It all switched up. He never, it was all about his friends and he never wanted to come.
So there was no compromise. There was no.
No, even little things like she has a dairy allergy, right? That's out of her control. Mm-hmm. She can't eat dairy. And, she wanted to, for her, vegan food is, something she likes to do because that's her, way of getting...
Yeah, absolutely.
It's safe. She can get that cheese feeling or, that cheese taste from that type of food. He refused to go to a vegan restaurant with her.
Wow. So, just very much
it was more about him, selfish. More about him. And I would try to be the more, responsible one and, discuss finances or, try to put money aside. But he was just like, oh, let's spend, or, And then there was at one point where we did live with his parents. And if you guys have that opportunity to do it, do not do it. No matter what good relationship you have with your in-laws, it's one that can literally break your relationship. And I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead.
No. Because that is something that you've told me, and I've always felt that way, that, you could have the coolest in-laws.
You can have the best in-laws.
But there's some level of privacy and boundaries.
And especially when you're first married. Because I come from a very traditional, Hispanic household, but more Hispanic, Christian household. So, and living together before marriage is, it's not something that would be accepted in my family. It's also not something that I would choose to do myself. But that's my choice. But my family would hardcore be absolutely not. So, if you are coming into it not living together and not maybe really traveling together and being able to spend time together in that capacity, that's a whole different ball game. Whole different ball game. And now you're not just dating, but you're married.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to learn about this person and their daily habits. So,
they went from living solo.
So we lived 1 year in an apartment
to save money save money to buy a house.
You're still new,
No, 100%.
Wow.
You're still new in that relationship.
So what was that like?
Knock on wood, his parents were great. They were phenomenal, but it was establishing boundaries. But I felt like also both of us were getting really lazy, but one more than the other. where you're getting too comfortable. You're not putting the money away. You're not saving.
Yeah.
Your mom and dad are doing everything for you.
Right.
And you're going back into these childhood,
Yes, tendencies.
Yes.
In a way. Yeah, you just fall back into that role naturally.
where oh, I taught you to pick up your pants off the floor and put it in the laundry bin or do your own laundry.
Yeah.
Simple things that
Mhm.
I thought we were past that, and you go back to being as a little kid and your parents are going to do everything for you.
Right.
So.
Which can definitely, so from your perspective, did that kind of just add to what was already stirring?
I think no matter what the outcome, whatever happened, we did get married, we were young, we weren't meant to be together. Seeing that now, in the beginning you would have told me, I would have been like, you're crazy. We're meant to be together. We're completely opposite people. And sometimes you just have to go through that life experience to learn from it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have to live with your in-laws, have a time frame, put up a,
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
That's what my parents did when they were first married. The same thing. They moved into a little apartment in Fullerton. And then they were like, okay, we really have to save for a down payment for a house. So they moved in with my mom's parents, which that's not easy. Not easy.
Yeah.
My grandmother was the one who would come and plant tomato plants in our front yard, when we weren't home. So
she was very nosy.
Yeah, shout out to grandma. But my dad for sure had a plan. I mean, I forget how
for sure. He was probably
absolutely. He was like, we didn't spend once at we didn't go to the movies, we didn't do anything and we always contributed. My dad was in and out. It was not no.
But I do think there is a big difference from living with your wife's in-laws versus your husband's, because mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, it's a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
And then you feel like you always have to be proper. You always have to be you're always on edge almost.
Yeah.
You have to always dress a certain way, look a certain way, and then, mother-in-laws will talk shit.
That's true. What are your thoughts from your experience?
I had a great relationship with my mother-in-law, but it's you can't walk around without a bra. You can't wear booty shorts in their house. You can't just sit on the couch and watch TV and pig out
lazy.
And be fun.
You
have to be doing something because you don't want that perception of you're being lazy and you're cooped up in your own little unit,
Right. What was his heritage or nationality?
Armenian.
Oh, okay. That's even that's harder. Because again, if you're coming, I don't know. I think I agree. I think it's just coming from being with his parents. I think the woman, the
pressure.
wife, there's a lot more
course.
pressure, and then especially within brown families
Yeah.
are just basically non-Caucasian families. I think honestly, even so, I think across the board, to be honest, I'll take that back. Across the board, I feel like there is always this pressure on the woman of are you providing a home? Are you
taking care of my
are you
son?
taking care of my son?
That's a big
the
one.
way
My
that I took care of him.
my son.
Oh God, my son. I don't know what it is about brown cultures and
Their
the way that the
son.
son, yeah.
I deal this battle with my mom all the time. I'm I could do literally my brother lives in San Diego. Samir, we all know Samir. He lives in San Diego. And my mom went to go take him, because my mom being my mom, she went to go visit him 2 weekends ago, and she made not one, but 4 dishes for him to eat over the week.
What'd you cook for you?
And all he did the next morning was hey, forgot to send you a thank you. Thank you so much. And that whole morning, all I heard was about, oh, my son's so appreciative. I'm dude, he sent you a...
My son loves me.
I was
he's such a good son.
I was all he did was send you a thank you text.
He sent you an emoji, Mom.
Literally,
he sent you a thumbs up.
The whole morning, all I heard was he's so appreciative.
Yeah,
and I'm
I don't know what it is with the...
Oh my God.
Yeah, my son.
It's so funny because me and Seema, my aunt's daughter, my mom's sister, she's well, when your siblings are subpar, they're going to have to, they're going to have to get extra from the parents.
That's really funny. But no, I do feel there's that really heavy pressure. And you can't, and just even outside of the pressure, you just can't be yourself.
You can't.
How you were saying. So
not your home at the end of the day.
Yes, it's not your home. And so I think you always feel you're that guest and everything has to be perfect. You're not leaving any crumbs.
But a male doesn't have to go through that pressure at a female's in-laws house. I think
No, because they praise him.
it's different.
Yeah.
For a female, it's like there is this, you can't be lazy, you can't be sitting around. And then there is that, like, you can't even speak up to your mother-in-law, not like in a disrespectful way, but
Yeah.
you can't say like you don't like something or like, or if
have an
even
opinion that's
have an
in contrast
opinion,
to hers.
or even in the kitchen. There's just a lot
God,
of
the
like,
kitchen. Yeah, especially within, again, very traditional
Yeah.
families, and then coming from any sort of, just again, like kind of like non-Caucasian, but just, when that traditional mindset, how you were kind of talking about earlier. What like led you to the decision to pursue divorce?
So I was studying for my career, building, it's a year and a half probation, and there's a lot of steps. So I was focusing on school at that time. We were living at his parents, and I kind of felt like he was being distant, but I didn't know what it was. And like I said, we never really had that communication and opened up to each other. So he would bottle it up and not express what's going on. And I was like, something's not right. Something's not right. What's going on? You're drinking a lot more. You're going out. What's the issue?
Interesting, the drinking and
Yes,
going out more.
the drinking became a big issue.
he was also always with his friends.
Yes.
Like he wasn't spending time with her. He was like
Yeah.
always with his friends.
Oh, wow.
And it would be a Friday night, and I'd come home from work and nowhere to be in sight. And I'm
Which
like,
is uncomfortable too, because she's at his family's house.
yes. And he was like, oh, well, I'm out with my friends. It's a Friday night. And it's like, I have nobody. I'm at your parents' house.
Right.
Yes, there's some friends here and there, but it's like, I want to be with my significant other.
Well, I would like to be with my husband.
Not to mention that they lived in the valley, and we were
so
all
I was away from everybody.
we were all kind of far.
Oh
right?
my God,
So,
San Fernando Valley?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, shit,
So it's
girl.
not
You
like-
were like way in the hell out there.
Yeah, so-
like, hi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
from a
it wasn't
distance.
easy for her to be like, hey, like let's get dinner. Like
Yeah, it was a drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and even technically, yes, it's LA, but even to like get into like West Hollywood or
On a
downtown on a
freaking
Friday
Friday
night,
night.
absolutely
no,
not.
it's like way out there.
Yeah.
And like I just think it's so inconsiderate.
It's very
Like you know
isolated.
that it's
Yeah.
isolating, and you know that your wife, not your girlfriend, your wife.
Yeah, not
At
just someone that
home.
you're dating, not
Yeah.
your fiance, but like your wife is sitting there at home at your
No,
parents'
and
house.
I understand like if you want to go out like here and there, but constantly.
But when I let you go out all the time with your friends, and that one day a week that I would want some attention and some alone time or to go do something, it's a fucking issue.
Yeah. Yeah. So he wouldn't even be home when you got home. He would already like just be like gone. He was like, "Oh, I went out." Like,
Yeah, depending on obviously the work week or whatnot, but he did go out. I gave him a lot of freedom to do that.
right.
Well, because you worked nights at that point, right?
Yeah, I was working nights, but
Okay.
at the same time, it's just like, at what point? What cost?
Right.
Yeah. She was easy. She wasn't like, well, because like she was like, well, I'm not home anyway, so sure.
So I
It-
understood
'cause
that.
some women are like, no, stay at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like if I'm not going out, you're not going out either.
Yeah.
And like we're gonna go out together. Yeah, you weren't like that, which you
Yeah,
were
she gave him a lot of
open.
freedom. She didn't
Right.
like, she wasn't like a tight leash, but of course, understandably, right? I don't think it's wrong for her to be like, well, the days I have off, why would you not spend it with me?
No, not at all. I know I have employees who they try to coordinate their schedules, and I've done schedule changes because they're like, oh, well, like even it's not even husband, like boyfriend, right? But I've had
Yeah.
other people like, girls saying like, oh, well, my boyfriend is off on this day, so can I get off earlier, or can I switch my days off to this, or my husband or whatever? Like
Yeah.
they've made sure that they're off at the same time,
Make that
to
time
make
for
that
each other.
time for each other, because it is so important, and especially in the newlywed phase type of thing. Was there any did you try to make it work?
So this is where it hit rock bottom. He started drinking a lot more. His behavior started to change. I'm trying to question and trying to communicate of what is going on, like what's bothering you. Just open up and tell me.
Yeah.
Instead of working on it and talking about the issue when it became a problem, he sprung it on me right out of nowhere.
No
One
warning.
night, no warning, was like, I'm no longer in love with you. I am not happy. I don't want this.
Oh shit.
Mhm.
So he's the one who came to you and
Yes.
said, "I'm out."
but out of
I'm
nowhere.
out of nowhere. Yes, there was signs leading up to it, but how would I know if you're not communicating what's the issue and what the problem is? And even when you're just telling me this, like, you're done, what was the issue? What do we need to
Right.
work on? Because obviously when you got to this point, you're done. Where were you when you were 5 steps behind?
Right. Right.
And like last month, you were just telling me like, oh, you know what? Let's just fucking and let's just get an apartment together. Like, let's just get out of my parents' house. And I told him, I was like, let's feel it out for a month. If we're pretty set on it in a month, let's do it.
Yeah.
But let's just not do anything.
Rashly.
Rash-
Yeah, irrational.
yeah,
Yeah,
rational,
let's not. Yeah.
Let's just not jump
Make
the
a rash
gun. Let's
decision.
really think about this.
Right.
And then that month passed, and he just sprung it up on me, which was
Wow.
I'm the type of person that I came from this background was like, you need to work on the
make it work.
relationship.
Right.
You need to make this relationship work.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay, let's go to a therapist. So we show up to this therapist,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, I just want a divorce. I don't want to work on it. There's nothing to work on. I'm out.
So why are you there, bro?
It was his safe place to say he wanted a divorce without getting a great
Without
reaction out of me.
retaliation. Wow.
So
Mind you, he's in his 30s, but at this point.
that's so
he's not,
fucked
he's in his
up.
30s at this point.
Well, I mean, yeah, like, so a grown ass adult, right, who you
Yes.
think would have the wherewithal and have some sort of emotional intelligence, understanding, kind of, again, just being, an adult and a man. But to also like weaponize therapy, that's super fucked up. Like that to me is so egregious. Like to oh my God, to weaponize that. That's
Yes.
so like
Well, it's also
it was
like,
a safe place.
well, then to also
say-
give you that false sense of hope or
let's try to work
you have to try to work on it, but really it wasn't that.
And to top it off, we ended up separating for 3 months, thinking, okay, I'm going to do everything in my power. I'm going to go to therapy every other week. I'm going to work on myself. And his goal was to, with a therapist was to have our own one-on-one sessions.
Right.
And about a month in of separating, not talking, he had moved out. The therapist, I think it was like 2 months in, and
Yeah.
the therapist was like, straight up, she's like, he only wanted to came to one session. He didn't open up. He has a wall that he's so far gone. And this is me like trying to comprehend all this because I've been working so hard.
She's been going to her sessions.
Oh,
and-
wow.
Working on
Yeah,
myself,
on
trying to
yourself.
figure out the issue. And she's like, he's so far gone. It takes 2 to make this work. If one is so far out that door, you can't make it work.
Yeah. As
And
much
she
as you
had to
want
bring it
to.
down to me to reality. And I was just like, I couldn't understand that. And when I told my parents of what was going on, they're like, you're going to make it work. And at that
Oh,
point, when they
gosh.
realized it's not going to work, they were so supportive of it.
I was going to say that, I mean, that's really amazing to hear because I know coming from a very traditional background,
Oh,
and
Yeah.
brown families, it can be very hard to try to find that support. And a lot of times I think sometimes they kind of put it on the woman, like, well, then what are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
Like, you're not creating a home. Like, are you not taking care of him in the bedroom? Like, like you've let yourself go.
traditional-
All the very, very traditional,
No, you're right. They blame it on the
mindset. They
woman.
blame it on the woman. And that like you need to do everything that you can, to relieve stress or pressure.
or like sometimes they're really conservative, which we've heard, where they'll be like, "Oh, it's all right. Like men do these things."
Yes, it's
Oh,
very
no.
much
Yeah.
like, you know what, men
no.
do that,
Yeah.
but just know that they don't love those other women.
Yes.
Or they love you.
Turn a blind eye.
Turn a blind eye. It's just men. It's kind of like the boys will be boys.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I think
bullshit.
if my parents, if he had said he had cheated or whatnot, I think my parents would be like, okay, you're done.
Yeah.
Coming from a traditional standpoint, I feel like a lot of Middle Eastern, Indian, any kind of conservative country where they're like, oh, no, you're going to work on it. It's like, no. He
Yeah, 'cause they're-
disrespected
They're
me.
too worried about what are
What-
people going to
yeah.
say.
Yeah, what are people
What is
gonna
society
think?
going to say? I have a divorced daughter now.
Well,
what people are going to talk shit?
It's like a
Yeah.
a mark of shame on the household.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's
You know?
bullshit.
Which is so crazy.
It's bullshit. And like, that's what's like, I'm so glad that her parents are so supportive because
Yeah.
it can't be easy being young, going through
totally.
this.
Totally.
Because a lot of our culture is like, no, you have to stick in it
yeah.
because they're too worried about what people are going to say versus what does my daughter feel?
Yeah. They don't come at it from a perspective of, she's being disrespected. She's not being
Yes.
valued. She's not being
not
prized.
what she deserves.
She's not being treated as she should be. Even just from a basic human standpoint, like would you be happy if somebody was just treating her like that as a friend, and kind
Yeah.
of, abusing the friendship or abusing kindness in that way. It's so weird when it comes to a marriage. They're very much like, no.
No,
Like,
it is weird.
like,
But
absolutely
it's
not.
so
You have to
right
stick in
about
it.
the disrespect because, like, think about it. They've been married. This is not a stranger. This is not even
Yeah.
your girlfriend. You've been married, and how do you just like? I'm done.
Because at this point, how long had you two been married?
2.5 years.
But
Oh,
they
wow.
were
Yeah.
together.
But yeah, but
We
you
were together for a
for
total of like 7 years.
Oh,
Almost 7
wow.
years.
Okay.
That's
So
what I'm
how long
saying.
did you date?
We were married 2.5 years. We were together for around 4-ish.
Wow. Yeah.
Before
So
we
it's
got
not
married.
like it's you like, met on Thursday, got married on
No,
Saturday.
we were
divorced on
together for
Monday.
almost
Like,
7
it's like
years.
that's what's so interesting about men, and I know women probably can do this too. But it's like the second they're out of it, you just become such a stranger.
Yeah.
Like they don't
When I-
care about your feelings. You're just
Yeah,
it's your
Yeah.
problem now.
that's it. Yeah. It's
When I
like, I'm
saw
done,
him
I'm
in
done.
therapy, it was just like a completely different person. Like I
Wow.
didn't know this person. And I'm like, I've spent the last 7.5, almost 7 years with you. I don't know who this person is. And it was so weird. It was a
To be so
crazy
cold.
experience to be so cold to
Yeah.
someone that's only given you their heart and only treated you so good,
Yeah. So how did you even? Oh, like how did you?
It's
even
devastating.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
devastating.
Yeah.
So how did you even start like the healing process from it?
That was definitely a journey. It was not a walk in the park. I kept on seeing the therapist. There was a session after the 3 months where I straight up was like, okay, where's the paperwork? Let's do this. He's like, oh, my phone was blocked this whole time. I was like, okay.
Yeah, he even blocked. She wasn't even.
I never reached out to him this whole 3 months. I gave him the
He's acting
space.
like she's like
So
slashing his tires.
So during the entire 3 month separation,
We never talked once.
never talked once, and he blocked you.
Blocked me like I was a
How
child.
childish.
Oh my god.
And she wasn't reaching out. She
I
wasn't
never
being
once.
like a
Only
psycho.
Right.
Only at the end where I was like, just bring the paperwork. Let's
Right.
just do this.
Yes.
Like why are we
Yes.
gonna hold on to this? It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's clearly
Clearly,
done.
like we're done.
and I'm not
know.
interested now.
Right.
Look, your actions are like disgusting.
Right.
Yeah, if you're gonna do this to me again, like, how are you not gonna do this again to the next person because you're not solving the issue?
Oh, yeah.
At the end
no,
of the
not at all.
day.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to therapy. I ended up moving back to Orange County. It was not a walk in the park. It is one of the hardest things that you have to do, and I can only imagine that people that are involved in domestic violence, people that have kids involved, a mortgage, how 10 times more
God.
problems are, how hard it is to go through that. And I understand now, going through that experience, why some people and some women stay, even though they're being treated like shit, even though they're being cheated on and all that. I understand how hard it can be. But I think one thing that held me together was definitely my family, my friends for support, and my job.
Just keeping busy.
Yeah.
And
And you just had something to
Being
focus
able
on.
to spend that money and take care of myself for once and travel, because that's always something I wanted to do, and I never got to do that because we're always money, money, money. Like it's been
Right.
a big issue.
Right.
So
Well, and also probably I could just imagine that you're probably spending it in ways that he wanted, and not even just like, oh, let's go travel together, let's go do something together,
Yeah.
and like, and if he was drinking a lot, like drinks ain't cheap.
I don't
Booze
even-
ain't cheap,
no,
you
and
know.
I'm
like,
not even like saying this because she's my friend, but like I feel like she did such a good job in like even like his interests of like going to places he loved. Like he was into like Star Wars.
I never
and,
got
like,
into it. I'm
they had-
sorry. I
that was the
couldn't.
first red flag.
Yeah.
I've seen.
I know.
They had like a Star Wars little episode at their first dance, and like even just like he Comic-Con and all this stuff he liked to go to. Like
Yeah.
she was like so like, all right, I'll do this with
So
you.
support, yeah,
So supportive.
yeah. So
She
like
was
compromising,
but
and-
it was never like that on his end.
Yeah.
It was only like that for the pursuit.
Mm.
Of course.
And
He
then
played the
That's-
game right and caught me,
that's-
unfortunately.
That's so interesting. I think it's like this perfect cocktail of pursuit and love bombing, which again, there's a very fine line between love bombing and like genuine pursuit from a, like kind of that masculine perspective, coupled with you being very young, having zero
Naive.
experience really in the dating world and with men in general. And then also at that age, you don't know yourself,
No,
right?
not at
So you-
all.
and then coming from a very conservative, traditional background, like that was the perfect
Well, I think-
Molotov cocktail there.
well, I think it was also like for your family. It was also like you guys have been together for 4 or 5 years. Like,
Yeah, what are the next steps?
What are the next
Yeah,
steps?
The next
that was
step was
normal.
to get me.
did you feel like there was like little pressure?
Absolutely, because I wanted
Yeah.
a longer engagement. He was like, "No, let's get married. Like we don't do this." Mind you,
Yeah.
I didn't have my career set up. I was not making money.
Right.
Like still
Right.
at that. job that wasn't paying. So
yeah, and it's normal. Again, I think especially in brown communities, we kind of just whatever our parents did, right? That's what they kind of instill in us, which there are some really great things from there and that kind of traditional values and mindset, but then there's also some very I guess for lack of a better term, toxic, but just they're not helpful and they're actually very limiting, and that's just kind of what you do. It's like, well, my parents struggled, and that's the mindset that they
normal.
have too. It's like that's
you
normal.
thought that was normal.
That's what happens when that's not our situation anymore. And especially being women, we're not our mothers anymore. I obviously we all love our moms and stuff, but like we now have the ability to be more independent and to go and pursue our careers and I'm
stand on our own 2 feet.
Exactly. Like I'm not, again, like we've talked about this before on the pod of just, we're not looking anymore for a man to provide for us. We're looking for an actual partner and an emotional partner as well in this game of life. So, but getting back to kind of your healing, so kind of just your support system was huge for you.
That was
family,
the biggest
friends.
I think a big thing too is like putting in the effort to heal, right?
Yes.
Like she put in the effort to go to therapy. She put in the effort to work on herself. She didn't jump into dating. She didn't jump into like another guy. It was very much my journey.
Yeah.
Let's work on myself. But don't get me wrong. There was those in the beginning where I did drink a lot and I did get that attention from the guys that I wasn't getting before. Yeah. And I think that's just
I need a win.
Like that's just the experience. But I never had that in college.
Yeah.
But I was only with one guy.
No, totally. But you didn't like jump into a relationship.
No, absolutely not.
You didn't like, a lot of people do that where it's like they'll just jump into something else to heal from the previous.
Right.
Like,
well, they need a distraction. And they need it in the form of a man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just general, because kind of like, you know what, I'm actually going to finally have some fun in my life. And you know what? I want to feel pretty and I want some attention, and that's normal for women to crave masculine attention. So I mean, that makes sense, but that is a good point that you make though, Sana, is like putting in the effort to actually heal. And be in therapy, and that is not easy. I've only been in it for a few months, and it's very active decision making every week, because also people don't recognize. I mean, it's kind of like the gym. It's like, it's very easy to like cancel. It's very easy to be like, I'm not going to do this anymore. It's also very easy to just be like, you know what? I don't have the money for this. I'm not going to pay anymore.
Or 1 month is doing really good, and the next you're like, what the heck happened?
Oh God. Yeah. You think very much highs and lows in therapy for sure.
But it is great.
Yeah.
If anybody's thinking about doing it.
Yes. I think we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that soon, because we're going to talk about therapy journeys, because it is great. Were you ever reluctant to date again, or even seek a committed relationship again?
I was scared. And in the beginning, I was kind of dating. I was going out there. But I wasn't, my intention was like, oh my God, I need to get married. I need to have kids. Like, I'm just going to have fun, see what is out there in this world, and let's go with the flow.
Yeah.
I was never like, I need to get married. I need to have kids. So it was more of a fun experience. And mind you, I was doing this during COVID.
Oh, wow.
So you got to get creative with these days.
Literally like 2020 COVID.
Yes.
Yeah, so like in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And then these ones were in a relationship, and I was like, I'm the only one single right now, so I had no one to go out and do this fun stuff.
Yeah, they turned real quick, because we were all single when she was married.
Right. Yeah. No.
And now I'm single, and she's not.
I was gonna ask you that though. How was that? Like, how did that kind of impact you, being married so young? Like your friendships.
Yeah.
Like being married so young. Probably being the only married one of your friends.
Shireen.
Oh, yeah. Shireen. Yes, Shireen as well. And then experiencing such a life upheaval so young as well.
You know what? At the same time, one of my friends was going through a divorce at the same time.
I think that's what helped.
That's what helped.
The shared experience.
We had that shared experience.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I mean, no one really knew what was going on. It was different, because like one friend had this happen to them, and then I had a different experience.
Yeah,
so
there
no
were
one
different
really
experiences.
Yeah.
Right. Very.
But we did lean on each other a lot and did hang out.
They both got married at the same time, and it didn't work out at the same time.
I think within a month of each other.
It ended.
It was crazy.
Wow. And they got married within a few months of each other.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, that must have absolutely helped, because I feel like there's When you're that young and, during your 20s, everyone kind of has the same sort of experience. So to be such an outlier, when again, 20s, like everyone's like, well, I'm just
Go have
partying, kind of
fun
just
and
whatever,
travel.
let's just have fun, throw caution to the wind. And you're trying to be this adult.
Yeah.
You're trying to be
Yeah.
married and navigate a marriage, not just a relationship, but a marriage, and then the in-laws, and we're trying to save money. And I mean,
Yeah.
and
It's a lot.
that's a very
It is hard
deep
because you
emotional
can't relate
process.
to a lot of people.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And then going through this again very young. Cause again, I don't mean this to be like in an asshole way, but like when you think of divorce, it's like,
You think of
like
it later in life.
life. And then to experience that. And it's like, that's hard when people have never had that
Absolutely.
experience.
Absolutely.
Type
Because
of
it's not
thing.
like I can run to Sauna and talk about a divorce
Yeah.
or what's going
Yes.
on. She's not going to understand, and
we-
that's okay
yeah.
because she hasn't gone through it.
Right.
So, knock on wood.
Well, I'm single, so chances are quite slim right now.
No, but I did have my uncle's wife. She was divorced, had kids, so I would rely on her every day coming home from work. I would call her up and talk about my issues, and she's one of the biggest supports that's helped me through everything. And even till today, I'm like, I need to tell you this, and like I
Yeah.
run to her.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. No, it's so important to have
Support.
people support and like true support. I recently had a loss of a former employee. She's very young, and someone when we were kind of just talking about it, and we were saying that it's so important to not just have support or not to just say like, hey, if you're feeling down, like reach out, but like that people actually know that you
They
can be real,
can.
like
Yeah.
that, like not just like that you can, but like I can be real. So like, yes, I can reach out, but that I can be very real and open and honest and raw about what I'm going through, and without judgment, without, sometimes I'm not looking for advice. I'm just looking for
To vent.
and I just need kind of that shoulder, that proverbial shoulder to cry on. And I saw another quote that said, like, if we're really good friends and we can laugh together, then we should be able to cry together.
That's true.
And I really love that. So that's fantastic that you had that, because I think divorce, I mean, any loss, but like divorce specifically can be very,
is a
very
loss.
it's very isolating. Yeah, there's definitely like, I know my therapist has told me that a breakup is grief. It's literally grief. It's, it's
Yeah.
not in the traditional form that we think.
Yeah, but it's a loss of a partner. It's a loss of that
Of a life you thought you were gonna
exactly.
have.
It's the life you thought you were gonna
Yeah,
have. That's
it's
the big one.
Yeah. So no, do you feel like there is like a stigma surrounding like divorced women, like
I
bitter,
thought
that
so.
When
hate
it
men?
when it
Beginning.
came to like dating, do you
yeah,
feel
like dating in the dating
You know
world.
what? I didn't have a hard time with it at all. And I've dated every ethnicity. And even when it came to dating Middle Eastern men, I thought it was going to be an issue.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the ones that I dated, they were like, no, it's a life experience. Like, stuff
That's-
happens.
that's
which
really
I was
refreshing.
very,
That's very refreshing.
I know. And I was surprised myself, too, because I was coming in thinking, like, I'm damaged goods, the Middle Eastern culture.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're not a virgin anymore.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't have a hard time with it at all. Some were like, "Oh, is it too soon to be dating? Like, are you ready?" And they had
That's a
serious
valid
questions.
question.
Reserves,
Absolutely,
yeah.
because in the beginning, I was not ready.
Right. Right.
But no, thankfully, I have the greatest support, and no one has judged me just because I have been divorced.
Wow.
So I love that.
How soon were you telling people?
Yeah, when you were starting to date.
I was open and honest
Like
because
from
at
the beginning.
because the issue was I was still technically married, and during
That's
COVID,
true.
everything got
Oh,
stalled.
So shit took a
Down.
while.
Oh my God, I didn't even put
So
that
it didn't
together.
go through until I met Pierre. I think the first month it finally got finalized because everything
Wow.
It
was
took like a
stalled.
few years. Yeah.
That's
Yes, because of
everything
COVID.
stopped. Oh,
So I was
shit.
open and honest
Yeah.
because I don't want to be like that person and they're like, "Oh my
Right.
goodness, you didn't tell me
Yeah,
dating a married woman."
But
Like,
I think it's important to be open and honest,
Yes.
because I came to a situation where I find out months later that someone is still married. So
yeah.
Yes.
And guys don't care, by the way. They really don't.
but
Sorry.
guys are not upfront because they think girls will care to a certain extent, because I think girls are like, well, is she still around? Do you still talk to her?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's also was like, I think typically, I know for me, when I hear divorce, I'm always like, was there cheating?
Yeah.
Like who did what?
Yeah.
Who fucked up? Type of thing.
No, totally.
So no, that's fair. I'm so surprised though. I would 100%.
I think it's a standard because like when it's a woman, they're like, oh, okay, it just didn't work
Maybe
out.
it's
Or
just
I don't know.
like a fake
Interesting.
stigma, or it used to be a stigma.
It used
maybe
to
now,
be a
maybe
stigma.
now
It's so
it's
normal now.
That's something. Maybe because now it's so normal.
And
Right.
they realized like I was young, because I told them like, oh, I got married at 25, and at 27 I was,
what's also
separating.
Yeah.
She didn't come with baggage, right? No
I don't
kids.
have
I think
kids.
I was just gonna say, I think that's a whole different kind of situation when I think the stigma maybe comes from a 40-year-old woman, who this is the kids,
mortgage,
everything, and maybe hasn't been working, and so she doesn't know how to support herself, and she's given him the best years of her life, and she doesn't have her youth anymore, so now she's just like shakes her fist, and then becomes bitter, which I mean I don't blame. I don't blame women.
I could have had a different perspective if I did have kids and going out to the dating world. It could have been completely different,
Right.
but it was just me.
It probably would have been a little bit different.
Absolutely.
Well, I also think that maybe your perspective would have been different if you actually didn't take the steps to heal yourself before, because I know that within therapy and when you really do go on a healing journey for yourself, you are hit with, this is the thing, everyone thinks therapy is just like someone
you sit there and
telling
talk about your feelings.
Well, you do talk about your feelings, but they think that therapy is like someone just hardcore agreeing with you.
No, it's
and
not.
and I cannot tell you how many times my therapists have told me
they hold
things,
you accountable,
and I'm like, that was way harsh, Ty.
That
was like, and I'm like, and she, she even says, I'm going to hit you, like, get ready. And she's told me things that I'm just like.
She puts it in perspective and it's like, I didn't think of it in that way. Now that you put it in that way, I understand it.
Yes.
And sometimes you need to be told.
You do, but you're right, Sana, the accountability. Yeah, and putting it into a way that's palatable and that you can understand it, and being then at a point to accept that and accept when they're hitting you between the eyes. But therapy is very much a lot about self-awareness and responsibility and accountability.
Yeah.
It is not all the
I can see that.
rainbows and sunshine that people think that it is.
Well, that's what I think people just think that you sit there and you talk and then you leave.
Yeah, and that you just whine. Or, the psychologist or
that they're going to
psychiatrist.
fix you overnight. And it's not that.
It is not that.
It's fixing yourself, and she's just trying to give you a perspective and try to see what is going on and what the problem is.
Absolutely. So I think that maybe you could have fallen into that bitter, it doesn't matter what age or whatever, but that kind of that bitter, fuck all men type of thing.
Yeah. I think I came out pretty positive.
I think so. Because she wasn't like, I never want to date a man again. It was more like,
I think
if the right
it's a
guy.
lesson
I'm gonna go play for the other team.
Yeah, I think it was more like if the right guy came around.
It was just a lesson I had to learn the hard way, unfortunately.
Yes.
You know what? I think that's a really great way to put it, is because I think I'm in the same boat with some things. It's just a lesson that I've learned the very hard way.
It's a very hard way, but honestly, if this didn't happen,
I
you
wouldn't have
met Pierre.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been the woman I was because I feel like I was so insecure back then.
You're so strong now, the way you think.
Yeah.
You've matured, everything. And honestly, I could not have picked a better guy for her. I cannot, he is everything she deserves.
Aww.
Everything he wasn't willing to do, this guy's willing to do.
Yeah.
In every aspect, right? He works hard. He takes, he's good financially. He does things to make her happy.
Builds
they
a
do
home
things together. They travel. He's so sweet to us. We all went for her 30th birthday last year. We all went to Mexico City together.
Oh, that's right.
And
we were in the beginning of dating still then.
And we had the best time with him.
Aww.
And he's so good at talking to us and getting to know us. And it doesn't come across as fake. It's he's very genuine.
Well, it's
absolutely.
funny, just that juxtaposition, right? When you look at what is true and sincere and genuine that you have now versus that love bombing and that sneaky charm.
I mean, let's see, but little things are. The first time I ever met him was at a vegan restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was true.
Which what a 180.
What a 180 because she wanted to go there and it was, and he wasn't why would I eat there? He was
yuck.
He was oh my God, I would come back. This is so good. He loved it.
Yeah.
And it's just, no, she has found the perfect match for her.
I love
I love them together. And Fun fact, they met on Tinder.
Yes.
I was gonna say, like,
so shout out to Tinder.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, give us like update, like where you are, like now, like love life type of thing.
So I moved in October. So we were living together. He has a house.
Wow.
And we're just building a home together and remodeling. And we did talk about finances, you guys.
Fantastic. We learned our future. We have a plan.
He puts me first, and we spent all weekend together, and it's fucking awesome.
We love it.
He's great.
Yeah. Met on Tinder. How long
Tinder.
have you guys been together?
Yeah, how long have they been?
It would be 2 years in June.
Wow.
Yeah.
She swears by Tinder.
I did Bumble. I did Hinge. And they're the worst ones on that app.
I don't know. You might be onto something.
But you have to weed out the bad ones on Tinder. Because there's going to be those bad ones.
I mean, there's bad ones.
But I feel like more
unfortunately.
guys are on Tinder versus Hinge and Bumble.
Interesting.
I don't know, because Tinder has such a bad rep.
It does have a bad
And,
rep.
you wouldn't think, Pierre is so put together. And, he's mature for everything.
Yeah.
Where it's, you wouldn't think he would be
He's a
on
good man.
Yeah.
But you know what I
man,
think?
Savannah.
You wouldn't think he would be on Tinder.
How funny.
But I think if you're a busy person and you're working hard and all that, you don't have time for all the other apps. You're just going to go into the basic one.
But Tinder's
But if you're
known
going
to
to
be
play
the hookup.
around, it's going to be Hinge and I don't know.
Well, I always thought Tinder was a
But what
play
if it was
around.
supposed to be a
know.
hookup and now we're together? So stuff happens.
Feels like this Iceland Greenland thing. Like they named the green part
Yeah.
Iceland so people wouldn't go. And it was the
I don't
bamboozle.
know.
I don't
I
know.
have the best dates on Tinder.
Which is so
versus Hinge
interesting
and
to me.
Bumble.
I've never used Tinder.
I've only had shitty dates off the app, so
Yeah, I've had 0 wins on the apps. I mean, I've done a lot of other apps, but I've never done Tinder because I always was
It has
under
a bad
the
stigma,
the
but I
perception
feel
and
like
assumption that it was the hookup
More
app.
people have it. More guys have it. And maybe
Well,
it was his intentions were for a hookup, and then, life happens.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tinder better sponsor your wedding.
Seriously.
You get right into them. Shout out to Tinder. No, I know. Sana and I still want to do this Tinder roulette where we're going to make a profile
experiment.
together.
Do it.
Think how funny this would be, right?
Yeah.
Think about how funny.
This is our thought.
So we want to make a Tinder roulette where it's both of our photos, and whoever messages us, we're gonna plan a date, and we're gonna be like, you don't know who's gonna show up.
Yeah, you don't know who's going to show up.
Come on, that would be the fun.
That's a great time.
Social experiment.
But I feel like you guys have complete opposite tasting
That's
guys.
so fun. That's what's fun. Is we're
And I think,
you don't know
I
what
think
you're
we're
gonna get.
maybe we'll set up the same day at the same restaurant.
Yeah.
Midway we switch.
Wait. So this came up, and it's so random, but it comes up to
Yeah.
your conversation. I went on a date, and I went up to him, and I was like, in my mind, I was already checked out. He's not for me, but I was like, but I have a friend for you. He was so pissed. Don't ever do that, by the way.
Oh.
He was
So he was like,
Oh. I mean,
they don't take
it's like-
heartbreak well.
Yeah, it's like, hey, look.
But you
I'm
know what? It's an
trying to-
app. We're just learning to meet people, and it's
Yeah.
okay that it doesn't work out on the first date.
Right.
It's way okay.
Yeah.
But I have a friend for you.
Yeah. But hey, it's
You
not
know
me,
what?
but I got something. I think I got another option.
I think we're bored enough where we might do it.
I know. Honestly, I think we're bored enough where we might.
Doesn't hurt to try.
We'll
I think,
see.
but see, we're not trying to find love. We're just trying to do
We're just trying to have fun.
a social experiment.
But you never
Social
know.
experiment.
How does this
Yeah.
turn out? How does it go?
This is the key to it all.
Yeah.
As doing things for shits and
So
giggles.
it's like,
and then,
in the bio, do
yeah.
not request who you want to see.
yeah,
You're gonna get the opposite.
because you're gonna get the opposite
Yeah.
for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
And I might not even shower.
Yeah.
So,
No requests.
Please
This is a fun game.
no,
A
it
fun
could be really
game.
fun. But thank you so much for coming on,
Thank you.
Christine.
Wait,
Yeah.
last question before we wrap up.
Yeah.
What advice do you have to girls
Yes.
going
Oh
through
my
this
gosh.
right now? Either on the fence, separated, currently going through a divorce.
You will get through it. And there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. No matter what shit, what depression, what anxiety, suicidal, however you're feeling, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So just keep swimming.
Oh, I
Well, it's
love
true because look how
that.
happy she is now.
I know. Yeah, I hear all about. I have yet to meet him, but I've
Yeah.
heard so much about him and how he is just such a great man, and we love a good man.
I think it goes back to everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, very
It's
true.
sometimes it sucks.
Yeah,
It freaking
it
sucks.
sucks. It's trial by fire, right? And it's
But I
just.
think, and I hate to say it, but you have to trust the process. I hate that phrase.
I know. No, but it's true.
Yeah.
I think it's especially like within like regards to like my faith, a lot of times it's
Yeah.
referred to as like refiner's fire. And how does like steel get forged? Like it's in a fire. Like you're in a fire, like that is, and it's burning out impurities, and like it's not fun, but you come out of it that much stronger. And so it's super shitty when you're in it.
But once you get out of
once you
it,
get out of it, you are that much stronger, and you are forged,
Yep.
and your fucking sword that
Yeah.
can take down, all the enemies.
Yes.
But so yeah,
and she's
it's
incredibly strong now. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
yeah, and it's kind of like
Means a lot.
you don't know good without dark.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
so
I
you
don't think I
wouldn't
would be able to
know-
appreciate what a great guide I had if I didn't go through that experience.
Yeah,
Yep.
you wouldn't know what healthy looks like.
Exactly.
You could have fallen back into the same trap. So thank you for coming on and
Thanks
sharing your
for
I
story.
know it's not
Sorry.
easy to share this type
It's
of
not
stuff.
easy. It's not easy to be vulnerable and share, and knowing that this is going to go out on social media.
But you know what?
Seriously.
I think it's nice because there are going to be other
Yeah,
females
absolutely.
going through this.
Yeah,
And it's a good perspective because you also went through it young and you went through it in circumstances that were harder for you because you didn't really have peers that were going through this,
Absolutely.
minus
Yeah.
one friend. But like, it's
Yeah.
hard. So I think hearing someone like you who has gone through it is
Absolutely.
happy now, has pushed through, put in the effort to heal, like
yeah,
it will make a difference to someone who is going through it.
definitely. It's inspiring for sure.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so
having me.
much. That kind of basically wraps up our episode.
Yes.
Again, thank you, Christine, for coming on. And we will catch you all next week.
Yes. Have a great Valentine's Day,
Yes.
Galentine's,
Whatever it is.
whatever you may do.
Enjoy.